last time we talked, we were discussing the spirituality parts in acupuncture. So we discussed about the first realm, which was about survival and becoming autonomous and becoming, self-sustainable, being able to say no, being able to fight for what you believe in, being able to not need to avoid conflict anymore. Now, the second group, which we discussed in the previous video, was responsible for, helping us understand who we are and what exactly our mission is, what our potential is, what our path in life is. And now finally we get to the third one, right? And if the first two groups are to be understood that they are internal, right, which is something that I need to do with myself, I need to understand and process in myself. They're all about perspective, all about internal growth, all about internal resources. The third one is about implementation, right? So the third one is external. So I'm taking you outside. This is why we are here. So it's all about how you actually walk that path, how you actually put action behind the words so that you truly live your life factually. So let's discuss about this third group. And some of you might be thinking, but isn't it kind of obvious? I mean, if only I knew what I wanted to do, what I needed to do, if only I had the power to do it, if I had all these things, wouldn't I just do it? The answer is, some people do that and some people don't. Because in this journey, what happens is that for some people it's very natural, and the three realms, the three dimensions of all this actually overlap. So that means that as I go through group one of the meridians and I discover my own power, then it's going to be natural for me to discover that, hey, I'm learning about these things about myself, that, I love this, I love that, I find myself in this, and so that's group two. And then I go towards group three and actually do it, and I implement it. And, it's nice, and it's living the life, as I said. But actually, for many people, this is not the case. So for many people, what happens is that there needs to be a whole range of assistance between theory and practice. Like, for example, maybe you know about, I should do this, I should do that, but you actually don't get to do it, right? Now, let me give you some examples, right, of the problems that people face in this group three. For example, so group three is made up by 4 channels, just like the other two, and group three is made up by the liver and gallbladder, which are wood element channels, and the pericardium and the triple heater. Don't ask me what the triple heater is. It's complicated. Just it's an organ, it's a function, it's a meridian. Just let it be like that. Otherwise, we could spend easily half an hour just talking about what the triple heater is. But the bottom line is that if we think about the liver and gallbladder, this is all about planning and decision making. And when we think about pericardium and triple heater, this is about relationships, right? And relationships are divided between intimate relationships, which pertain to the pericardium, and they are divided, and the other part are the social relationships, which are governed by the triple heater. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so how does that link with all the spirituality part that we've discussed so far? Because introspection, internal growth, we can understand. But what does this have to do with spirituality? Well, the challenge that people face when they undergo all this change throughout this journey is that there's going to be a ripple effect in their lives. And what do I mean by that? The ripple effect that I'm talking about is something like this. I start to understand that I have a lot of junk in my life, right? A lot of junk in terms of dynamics, in terms of people that I'm seeing and spending time with that I shouldn't be spending time with, toxic relationships. And when I say toxic relationships, I don't mean only the intimate kind of relationships. Toxic relationships can be at work. Toxic relationships can be circles of friends that don't do me good, right? And with which I might even not feel that I'm connecting, with which I might even feel that they're not representative for me. I don't truly feel connected with them, but having said that, I feel that maybe I have a connection from the perspective of being accepted, right? They accept me in their circles, right? They address my need to belong to a group, right? So if I'm insecure, I really need to belong to a group. But guess what? Once I start going through this journey and start to become much more self-assured, I won't need that anymore. I will feel that it's natural for me to go away if I don't feel that I resonate with a group. And even though this might be coming very naturally during the treatment, and it happens so nicely, so smoothly, it comes out so organically from within, actually implementing it is not easy, right? Because it means saying goodbye to people that have been in your life for a number of years. And again, this kind of closes the loop because you feel from seeing how you behave that you've changed. You see that you've accessed a different kind of perspective, and you feel and you see that you've grown. You see that your strength of character is much different from what it used to be. Also, sometimes there are different complications stemming from the fact that maybe one of those toxic relationships that we're talking about is with your spouse, right? And this is a very challenging chapter, because sometimes there are children involved, and then there are different kinds of questions. Do we stay together for the children? Do we not stay together for the children? Do we split up despite the children? Do we split up, right? Because it might not even be that we need to split up, but it might be that we need to address some really deep and existential issues for our couple. And all these things need to be addressed, because you see, we are in these dynamics because we have wounds, right? So for example, the pericardium and the triple heater, which govern relationships, also are affected when we have emotional wounds from these relationships, right? So it's not only the need to rebalance these things, it's also the need to be able to see them from a perspective in which I am fairly neutral. I am not acting out from an emotional wound, right? And this is not easy, because we all have been wounded. We all have been marked by different dynamics in our past, and it's easy to lash out from there. So this is where the pericardium and triple heater come in, and they help us act from a place of being whole, not from a place of lashing out because we've been wounded before. And this requires treatment. And if you've seen the fact that maybe, you've seen that you're in different relationship dynamics and you keep attracting the same dynamic over and over again. You keep attracting the same kind of person as a partner, and that person is not beneficial for you. This is due to the fact that subconsciously we have different subconscious relational dynamics. And acupuncture understands that, and the place in the body that acupuncture sees them as living, right? Where is their home is in these two channels when it comes to relationships, so pericardium and triple heater. So, for example, if you want to heal your relationships, if you want to be able to, to attract different relationship dynamics, then you need to start with their internal healing. This is extremely important, and this is what the pericardium and the triple heater do. Or, for example, right, another very little known fact about the pericardium and triple heater, it might be, for example, that just like with other organs where things become somatized, right, when it comes to the pericardium and triple heater, things can become somatized in sexuality. The dysfunctional kind of sexuality, right? So, you might be in a relationship, everything might be nice and smooth, but sex isn't good, right? Maybe because you can't reach orgasm if you're a woman. Maybe because you ejaculate prematurely if you're a man. Maybe the sexual desire is just zero, right? All these things have causes, right? All these things are very clearly understood in acupuncture and addressed. So this is where this part of the third group comes in. Now, when it comes to the liver and gallbladder, the other half of the third group, these are responsible for the ability to plan. The liver is responsible for the ability to plan and to have the vision of, where you want to go, what is your destination. And also, it's related to hope and enthusiasm, right? And we need hope and enthusiasm. To get from point A to point B, we need to discover point B, we need to envisage it, and we need to be able to envisage a path towards point B. This sounds very simple, right? But in reality, a lot of stuff can go wrong. We can become depressed. We can become disconnected from point B. We might be feeling that, there is no point B. There is no way we can reach point B. So, not even worth trying. So this is how acupuncture can help us through the liver channel to overcome depression, to overcome our feeling that, we can't see a path through. And then we come to the gallbladder. Sometimes, and this is one of the things very typical of the gallbladder channel, what happens is that we are unable to get out of the cognitive. We haven't touched too much upon the cognitive, but I think it's time to address it a little bit more. Sometimes people tend to be very in their minds, very rational. Happens to men, happens to women as well. But the idea is that if there is such a tendency, then it's very difficult to really connect to such a person. And it may be that these people are extremely efficient task solvers, but they are very poor at truly enjoying life. And they're very poor at being a partner who truly enjoys life, because, imagine being with someone like that, and you go on a vacation. They will be very good at logistics, but you won't feel that you actually enjoy stuff with them, because instead of actually being there to enjoy life, they will just make sure that everything is checked off the list. And there's no real joy. There's no real emotion there, right? And that, of course, diminishes the quality of life for both that person and their partner, right? So this we can address through the gallbladder part. Or similarly, gallbladder channel is associated with decision making, as I said before. So sometimes we can be very stubborn, very inflexible, right? And this stubbornness and inflexibility makes us have, like, tunnel vision. I don't see left or right. I can only see my version of things, and that's it, right? Or the other end of the spectrum, the other extreme, is, for example, being very undecisive, being, very challenged when it comes to making a decision and sticking to it, right? So, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and it's fine if we devise a plan that ultimately, when put into practice, doesn't work. So, we get up, we regroup, we've learned something, we try again. But that is, feasible if we've actually went all the way with a plan. The problem with the gallbladder, if it's undecisive, is that it can be that I don't even start from home, right? Because I think, oh, I should go forward. No, I should go backward. I should go left. I should go right. I don't know where I should go. So there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of indecisiveness, and I'm actually not going to be able to go anywhere and do anything and implement any plan because I'm not going to be able to make a decision and follow through, right? So there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen to go from theory to actual practice and to truly enjoy life. So this is an overview of these three main groups, right? And I want to end this video with telling you a little bit about how it feels to go through these groups, right? Because I think that one of the things that I feel most happy about doing what I do is having the satisfaction of seeing how it impacts people to go through all this. And I often described to people the moment of my absolute joy and fulfillment in doing what I do. This usually comes some years into the therapy, usually 3, 4, 5 years into therapy. And inevitably there will be a moment, well, actually usually there's a series of moments, it becomes repetitive, and this is the nice part. There will be moments in which the patient and I look at each other, and there is so much joy, so much thankfulness, so much gratitude on their behalf and on mine, right? Because we've shared this journey together, because I've been there for them every step of the way, because I have been their guide and facilitator for all the changes that they've fought for. And now we can, sit back together and look back at the whole process and see just how far they've come, and see just how deep their changes on the inside have been. And this is absolutely incredible. This is there's a sense of satisfaction. There's a sense of having worked at an extremely deep level with incredible joy for having made it happen. And inevitably, absolutely inevitably, there are no words. We just look at each other, and there's a very deep, warm smile on both our faces, and there are no words, because there are no words to describe what has happened in these years. There's a level of joyfulness from the spiritual development from walking on that path of becoming for that person that is just simply undescribable. It cannot be put into words. But we both feel it, and there's an incredible satisfaction on my part that I've been able to play some part in their becoming. So inevitably perspective changes. Inevitably we come to laugh a bit about what made them come to treatment, like for example what their initial symptoms were, what their initial problems were, because it's almost hilarious, right? Because at that point not only have those symptoms gone away, but so much more has happened, so much more has changed and transformed, and both the patient and I are very, very aware of those changes, and it brings a whole different level of fulfillment to both the person undergoing this and me as the facilitator. So yeah, to me this level of spiritual development is the one that motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing. And with this karmic level of acupuncture, the level and depth of transformation is just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. To be able to see the person transform, they feel like a different person. They feel like being a totally different version of themselves, for the better, right? So yeah. And then, you know, we've talked about all this, spiritual transformation. The next step for this, the next step is actually implementing the feng shui. And why do I say the feng shui? Because remember that all this is rooted in the approach that we have, the three treasures, which are heaven, man, and earth, right? So we start out with heaven, which is destiny, which is Batsu. We look at the astrological chart, we see what the challenges are. And then we look at the level of man, and that's where the acupuncture treatment happens. And then we look at the level of earth, and that's where we really ground the internal changes into external happiness, into external abundance, and internal peace, and smooth relationships and all that. So that's the most external part of that. So we'll have some podcast episodes on feng shui in the future. So, but next episode we'll be talking about parenting, right? Because we haven't actually talked about parenting yet. So stay tuned, and just like usual, right? Like, subscribe, you know what to do. And if you know someone who might be benefiting from getting this information, from getting this perspective, share this video with them. I'll see you in the next one.